right, Donna. So do you have the PowerPoint up? Excellent. All right. So today's first lecture for math is going to be this is going to be kind of like a first day of any other college class where you don't really dive right into the material. We're going to go over what we're going to talk about in class, and then we discuss kind of the syllabus, which is all the rules of the class and what's kind of expected of you as a student. And for every class that you're going to take, you'll have a syllabus. And for the most part, teachers will request a signature to, it's a statement from you saying that you've looked over everything. And in case like you don't turn in a homework assignment, that syllabus, most syllabuses will say, oh, what's up, Eli? Oh, no, it's all good. I know sometimes the internet lags and stuff. It's all good. So now you're here. It's all good. I'll check my spam folder. I got it the last time, so I will check to see that. But no worries, we'll get that figured out. I know you didn't just no, don't worry about it. It's all good. Um, but so for today, we just barely started. Sorry about that whole fiasco at the beginning. It was just one of those Zoom things. But I was just explaining to Donna, today is going to be kind of like the first day of a regular college class, kind of the introduction to the class. You go over the specifics of the class. So if it's a math class, you'll go over kind of the concepts that you'll go over for that whole semester, which is typically about 15 to 16 weeks is your average semester. And you'll go over the class syllabus. You probably have seen syllabus or syllabi in high school. It's given to you pretty much at the beginning of the class. It'll state the rules of the class, what's expected of you. A lot of times it'll have the workload, so week by week what you'll be doing. And so we'll go over our syllabus, and it's kind of it was made by a college professor. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Thomas. He works here. He used to do the math classes for the past couple of years, but now he's working in finance. So I kind of took over. But so he made it, and it's designed exactly like a college syllabus, which is pretty neat. So Eli, do you have that PowerPoint from the email I sent you? It had a couple of different documents on it. The PowerPoint first. So today we'll be working with the PowerPoint in the syllabus. But first up, we'll be looking at the PowerPoint. And so for both of these, the lecture and so the PowerPoint and the syllabus, you'll need to keep those. I would star that email or flag it so you can, or save the documents to a specific folder. I want to get through a lot of material, so I'm going to try not to spend too much time on these things. But when you do start in college, organization is huge. So having different files and different folders for your different classes, so it's not all just going into your downloads or into one folder and you have to look through 100 different files for one semester. So if you have a math class folder, science class, and then like a reading, it'll make things more easy to find. So if you want to save these documents into a math folder, I would suggest that. So when you go do your homework and quiz at the end of this week, you can use these documents as like kind of like an open book quiz or whatever. So you have the answers there. You just got to go look for them. All right. So in the PowerPoint, this is lecture one. So it's kind of just overview of the class, we'll say. So lecture one by me, Daniel Early. So we'll go over what's due this week. And as you'll see over the course of this class, it's structured in a very similar way every week. So on Monday, every week, we'll have our math lecture. Wednesday, well, this Wednesday, you'll have your syllabus signature due. We'll get to that a little bit later. But every Thursday, you will have a discussion post to do. We'll talk about those later. And every Friday is when your homework and quiz are due, and they're due by the end of the night. Same thing with everything that's due will be due by midnight that night. If it's turned in any later than that, um, as you'll see in the syllabus, it's not acceptable. Um, So next slide, slide number 3. In today's class, we're going to briefly go over how college credits work. We'll talk about the importance of sharpening your non-visual math skills, basically also your math skills in general before going into college. We'll talk about math skills in everyday life. Then we're going to go over the class syllabus, kind of like you'll do in every college class. And I don't think we'll get to that last part necessarily, introduction to set theory. And we'll talk about the different kind of math that we're going to go over. All right, next slide. How college credits work. I just want to go over with you guys how college credits work because it's pretty important. I don't think a lot of people go into college and they don't know what college credits mean. Do either of you know what a college credit means? Right, right. And so for every degree requires a certain amount of credits. Every class earns you a certain amount of those credits. Your average college class is about 3 credits. Sometimes you'll have a 4 credit class, which is like a science with a lab. And so those 4 credit classes earn you a lot of points, but it just means there's a lot more work. So, how college credits work for every college credit, for each credit of the class, you want to spend 2 hours outside of the class studying and doing homework. So, for a 3 hour or a 3 credit class, you're going to want to spend about 9 hours of work outside of class studying and doing homework. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, but when you're not putting in that extra effort, you're not going to be getting those grades that are really going to show your success. The people that don't spend the extra time studying, going over the material, those are the people that get C's. Um, People say C's get degrees. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. It does depend on the degree, and I don't. I think it's also one of those stupid things. I know it's more in the business. I've heard business people say that. I've heard D's get degrees for some people, um, but I think that's stupid because I think C's on a transcript um, show a lack of effort, and employers, and if you're going to transfer to like go from Pima or your local community college to your 4 year university, those C's are really going to look bad and affect you. And so, if you want to, well, your average 2 year associate degree, you're spending 2 years to get your associates, that's about 64 credits overall. I think that's about 12 credits per semester, 12, 15. And then for your 4 year bachelor's degree, you're going to spend about 120 credits. So that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time outside of the class studying to be successful. And to be considered a full time student, you take about 12 hours or 12 credits a semester. Any less than that, if you take 11 or less, you're considered part time, even though 11 credits is still kind of a hefty load. A lot of savvy students or the clients, they come and get services here and they can take part time school loads, which is about 2 or 3 classes, so 6 to 9 credits, and they also take their savvy classes. But that's how college credits work. I just want the reason I tell you guys that and I wanted to bring it up is because it is more important than you know to use those time management and organization skills to set time aside to really go over what you're going over in class. Because in college, you kind of go over things really quickly. And so you review concepts in class pretty quickly, and it's up to you to kind of use that extra time to supplement your learning and use your independent time to add to your understanding of the material. Really important. I think you guys will do good with that, though. It's a lot of our clients that I see that don't do as well are the ones that put things off and don't use a lot of their free time for class. College is an important investment of your time. All of those extra hours and late nights that you spend on essays and homework are going to be worth it when you transfer to a 4-year institution and you get in without having to do much work. So next slide, I want to talk about the importance of non-visual math skills in college. A lot of our clients go from their senior year of high school and they go into college, and it's kind of a culture shock. You guys, I don't want to scare you, but college math and high school math are two different things. Um, what they expect of you and your workloads in college math is totally different than in high school. Um, what's the highest level of math that you guys took in high school? Eli first. Okay, right. I remember trig. Trig wasn't fun, but yeah, I was. I'll be honest. I was pretty much the same in high school. I did get B's and C's mostly. Never really got too many bad grades, but if I would have put in more effort, I would have definitely been able to get A's. But um, and you, Donna, what I remember you told me not too long ago. What was the highest math for you? Personal finance. All right. Well, that's also good too. Personal finance. Those are great math skills. We'll talk about that in a second. But when we get into college, there's a couple of different reasons that having your math skills kind of tuned up is going to be important. A, you're going to do better on your entrance exams or your entrance assessments. You guys took a similar assessment than you'll take going into a community college. Um, and so you'll take what's called an AccuPlacer. And what that does is it's going to tell them where you are math wise so they can put you at the appropriate math class. And depending on what major you're going into and what your math skills are, you may be able to test out of a certain math class. So I know for some computer majors, there's a lower level math class that you have to do, and it's about data entry and spreadsheets and whatnot. And uh, I don't think you could really test out of that class, but say you do have to take topics in college math. So that's Math 142 at Pima, but you get a pretty good assessment score and you test into Math 151, which is college algebra. Then you don't have to take that math class, and that's one less um, class you have to take to earn your degree or whatever it is you're trying to get. And so doing better on your assessments is really important. You don't want to have to test into a remedial class. And what a remedial class is where they kind of go back to work on those foundational skills. So they're working on the really basic math stuff. And working on your math skills over the summer may help you um, skip out of having to go through one of those classes. You don't want to start behind. You don't want to start in one of those classes and um, use your credits that you're taking. You want to, every degree and degree program has a certain amount of classes and set classes that you have to take, and you don't want to really have to take more than that set class or set amount. So I think a lot of degrees are about, I've seen 60 credits in all that you have to take. But if you have to take those remedial credits, then you may have to take upwards of like 63, 66, or even like 72 credits as opposed to the 60 you should have been taking. So you'd be taking more classes than you have to. Also, those math skills, all of them are going to be used in other classes. For instance, science, history. I took a nutrition class last semester, and that was a buttload of math in there. So math, those skills are going to be used in other classes. And if you don't have those really basic foundational skills, like I say, it's going to cause some rifts and problems in those other classes that you're taking. If you have to take chemistry, there's a lot of math and chemistry, there's some in biology. Also, like I said earlier, you're going to have to adapt to some classes that are faster paced. So you're going to talk about certain concepts. We'll talk about maybe even 2 or 3 concepts in one day. And you'll have to go do the homework for that class, take the quiz. Then next week, you're already moving on to different concepts. It's not like high school where you kind of spend a couple of weeks here or there working on the same thing. So it's really important that you have those skills sharpened up for when you go into your first semester of college, when you go take those exams. We'll move on to our next slide. We're going to talk about the importance of uses of math skills in everyday life. We won't talk about those too much, but just a reminder. I don't know if you guys were like me in 3rd grade, but I was like, we're never going to use this stuff. This is stupid. Especially in algebra, you get into algebra and you're like, when the heck am I ever going to have to use X and Y in everyday life? Um, every single day, every minute of my life, something pops up where I got to plot a graph or a, yeah, slope intercept. It's all it's all fun stuff. I remember I remember being in that mindset. But there are a lot of different math things, thingamabobbers that you use everyday life. You guys grow up, you own your own home or an apartment or something, and you want to do some projects in there. You want to know if um, a jacuzzi is going to fit in your backyard, so you can bust out your accessible tape measure, go back there, and figure out if that jacuzzi is going to fit. If you want to, you're shopping for a couch, you don't know if this couch that you like is going to fit, and go see if the dimensions are going to work there. So, like home projects and stuff, or if you want to build a garden, go ahead and sketch out a blueprint using the math skills that you learned. Budgeting is huge. When you guys get older, budgeting is going to be really important. So you're not living paycheck to paycheck. You want to be able to save money and kind of understand how much money do I have to put aside to be where I want to be later on in life. If I put aside $200 from every paycheck, then 3 years from now I'll have X amount of money. That's where like those basic algebra skills do come into play, and all that. Exercising is where math comes in handy too. Definitely using a lot of numbers there, different repetitions, weights, conversions. Same with cooking. You use a lot of conversions for cooking. You'll see that in ILS. Um, and then also in music. Music, there's a lot of numbers, and musicians have their own different set of kind of math rules or whatever. I've seen research that shows that drummers, because of how much math they have to use, uh, they typically are pretty good at math as well. So, math, like we won't be using plotting and a lot of those different algebra concepts in everyday life, but you will use some of those. And then when you're having a family or whatever and you have to help them with homework, it might help as well. Though that's kind of stupid too, but it is when it'll come into play. All right, so take away from that slide, math is used every day in some ways. All right, so kind of an overview of the importance of math. That's what that slideshow was all about. Now, if you guys can go back to that email and open up the syllabus that I sent you, we're going to go over the syllabus. It's called Graph Theory Syllabus. Like I said, this was made by Ryan Thompson, who's our finance guy right now, one of our head honchos over there. Yes, ma'am. Graph Theory Syllabus docx. It should have, well, I don't know if that's accessible, but it's got a Northern Arizona University logo in the top left because that's where Ryan did teach for a little bit. He also taught over at Pima. He taught some finance classes over there. So he's a pretty smart guy. Um, you can't you can't read any of the document? Okay, awesome. Did you have to enable editing or something? Was that what you had to do, or did you have to wait for it? Okay, cool. Just wondering. All right, so Savvy Services for the Blind, Ready, Set, Go, Senior Track. That's what you guys are in. This is the syllabus and course information. So a lot of times in your college classes, you're going to have these syllabus or syllabi, and it's going to have all of the course information in there. We're going to go over all of it, but sometimes I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to have some professors that are going to be pretty rude. And if you ever have a question, they're going to just say, did you read the syllabus? It's in the syllabus. And instead of answering your question simply, they're going to make you go find the syllabus. Um, and then, so this class is called Math 99 Introduction to Graph Theory. That's what it was called up in Northern Arizona University. Your syllabus is always going to have your instructor information. So it's going to have my name, the office hours, which are by appointment. So if you guys ever need to meet up, have any questions, or if you want to go over the material, what you're going to do is you'll shoot me an email and say, hey, can I get some office hours with you? I need to go over blank so and so. And then I'll schedule it with you and then we can meet up. It's also got my email. So you guys already have my email. And then I should have put my phone number there, but you guys do have my phone number as well. So if you guys ever email me in the off hours, I'll get back to you eventually. Might not get back to you right away because I may be playing video games or reading or hanging with some friends or something, but I will get back to you. So you can always shoot me an email. I want to stress to you guys how important it is for communication to your instructors and your teachers, professors in college. You guys ever have any questions or concerns, even a little concern, you don't understand something, it's really important you email them and they'll get back to you. Your instructors will get back to you. Like I say, it may not be eventually, but your questions will be answered. And it goes with some of your advocacy. So I know if you've been with Savvy for a while, in philosophy, we talk about advocacy. So really advocating for yourself. If you have any questions or if something's just not right, if you think something's not fair, you guys can go to your professor or your Access and Disability Resources Office, which you'll learn about a little bit later. So my information's there. Anytime you have any questions, just go ahead and try to get in contact with me anyway. So prerequisites for this class. So now we're going to go over the course information. The prereqs, you'll find prereqs for any class. A lot of times for the really basic classes, there will be no prerequisites. But for some classes, we do have prerequisites. For instance, you can't just go right into college algebra. You're going to have to have an intro to topics in college math first, which is Math 142 at Pima. Don't really know the other classes up in Phoenix or anything, but they're typically the same. There's going to be a class before college algebra that kind of introduces college algebra, and you'll have to take that or test out of it in your entrance exam. So those are what prereqs are. So a description of this class, what we're going to talk about is the set definition of graphs, pictorial representations, applications of graph theory to real life, um, discussion of paths, Euler circuits, Hamilton paths and circuits, minimizing circuit distance, and dictating and scheduling. So we're going to be going over a lot of math concepts that we don't really need to know those foundational skills. We're not going to need to know fractions or the order of operations or any of that. What we're going to go over is kind of its own little group of math. And it's not too bad. It's knowing the definitions and how things work. So I think you guys will like it. Essential skills featured in this course. include critical thinking and logical reasoning. So really keeping your mind open and being open to what you're learning. It's not going to be like the concepts that you learned in high school. So student learning outcome. You'll see these in all of your syllabi in your college classes, but this is by the end of the semester, basically what you guys should know. So your guys' outcome for this class is going to be to understand and explain graphs and their applications using correct notation and appropriate language. Construct and interpret graphical summaries of real life situations. Understand and properly apply weight minimization techniques. Sorry, there's a lot of big words in here that I haven't read for a while. I think I said that one right. Minimization. Say that one 5 times fast. Also, we're going to understand how to set up scheduling diagrams to minimize the time required to complete given tasks. So I know that sounds like a lot of kind of big words or I guess different concepts than you're used to, but it's really not too bad. And from what I saw in your guys' assessments, you guys are some smart and cool cats, so you guys are going to be just fine learning this information. Text for this course, like in other college classes, it'll be the book that you'll have to buy. And for college classes, as you'll learn, books can get expensive. I think the most expensive one I ever had to buy was like $215, but I know that they can get more expensive than that. So for this class, no required text. All the notes will be sent to you, like the PowerPoint I sent you. Um, and also, I will be recording this lecture. And I was going to record it on the Zoom, but I couldn't because the person who made it didn't allow that on accident. So I am recording it in its own way, and I'll put it on YouTube. So hopefully, if you guys want this recording for whatever purpose, just ask me for it and I'll send it to you. Course structure and outline. So we're going to have lectures, discussions, activities / assignments that are all based on the introductory topics and that we're going to be learning about of graph theory. And so the discussions and activities / assignments are going to be based on what we talk about today, which is course material. In this syllabus, we have our grading and assessment of student learning outcomes. So it gives you the basics of your evaluations of this class. So how I'm going to be evaluating how you're learning is through discussions, homework and quizzes, and your final exam. So your discussions are going to be worth 15% of your grade. Homework and quizzes is 45%, and final exam is 25%. I think it actually might be a little bit different. I'm also giving you guys participation points for being here at the lecture. And so you guys get 5 points just for sitting here and breathing. And you guys are also participating, which is awesome. But for some college classes, just showing up gets you points. And so if you decide to skip a day and you lose those points, it can really affect your grade. Those 5 points may be the difference between an A or a B and the outcome. Let me tell you, side note, I know I keep going off on side notes, but I think a lot of this information is going to help you in your first semester. My Spanish class I just took this last semester, I had an 89.37. So I was so close to an A. And what this teacher was cool though, because I remembered that she had extra credit opportunities. And I think there was a 5-point extra credit assignment that got me that like 0.43 that I needed to get that 90%. And I got it. But those 5 points, I remember there was a class where I accidentally didn't turn in a homework assignment. If I would have turned in that homework assignment, I would have had an A. So every assignment, every little point that you can get really does make a difference. And if it comes to you deciding if you want to get just an extra hour or two of sleep, or if you get an assignment done, and if you're going to be more tired, definitely get that assignment done. That's my recommendation for you guys. But just so you know, you have in every college class on your syllabus, you'll have a breakdown of points. So you'll know how many points you need to get a certain grade. Attendance and classwork. Attendance is required for all class sessions. Like I say, I'm giving you points just for being here. You're responsible for any missed work due to absences. I just see we're running out of time, so I'm going to try to speed through this. For homework, all homework is going to be collected and graded. Late homework is not going to be accepted, so every Friday your homework's due. So if it's turned in after midnight on Friday, not going to accept it. Makeup, homework can't be done. So homework's 15% of your grade. Quizzes will be given sporadic. Well, no, they're not going to be given sporadically. I didn't change that. Your quizzes, you're going to have one quiz due at the end of every week, and I give you your homework and your quizzes on Monday. So if you guys wanted to, and you had the resources and you really understood the material, you could get your stuff done on Monday and not have anything to worry about for the rest of the week, math-wise. And I do give you guys extra credit. You'll see later on, I'll discuss that. So turn in things earlier, you can get extra credit. And I just want to prove that turning in things and your time management is really important in college. Getting things in earlier is really going to reduce stress and not have you turning in last minute items as often. So quizzes will be given every Friday, they're due. And then you can use your materials, whatever notes you take or lecture materials I give you, you can use those to take your quizzes. Exam, I'm going to give you a final at the end to kind of see what you guys have learned cumulatively. Can never say that word right. So there is one exam at the end. And then we're also going to be doing discussion posts. I do discussion posts because college classes are becoming increasingly put online. And when you have an online class, 95% of the time, discussion posts are going to be a huge part of your weekly workload. And so discussion posts are also a way. So when you guys are going into class, you are in class and you're talking to your teacher and you can have that back and forth communication right there. But when you're in an online class, that back and forth is kind of limited. So those discussion posts are really getting you and your classmates to discuss things and talk more. And so for your discussion posts, what we're going to do for this week is, well, actually, no, I'm going to get to you in a second. I'll get to that. Course resources. So the lectures I'm sending to you guys, as you know. And then if you ever need anything, or if you know I recorded the lecture and you want it, just ask me for it and I'll send it to you. Course content. So the course content, this is a list of all of the different concepts that we're going to be going over. So we're going to be going over set theory, definitions of graphs, which include vertex and edge sets, the characteristics of graphs, paths and circuits, weight minimization, and scheduling. And hopefully we'll be able to cover all that. If not, the final will be on what we do cover. Other policies, so these are the other class policies that teachers have. So some teachers will be really strict about food and they'll put in there, don't bring food in here, don't bring drinks. So it kind of varies class by class. So it's important to pay attention at the beginning when you start a class, what each class's policies are. So like my policies are, don't be on your cell phone. If I see you texting or whatever, I'll ask you to stop. No plagiarism. You guys don't want to cheat, kind of common sense stuff. Lectures are given and recorded on Mondays. So kind of discuss the layout of the class. Recordings will be sent out if you ask for them. Discussion posts are due by midnight on Thursday. Quizzes and homework are due by midnight on Friday. And then I discuss my extra credit policy. This is pretty big. Not a lot of teachers give out extra credit, but when they do, it's pretty awesome. So I like to do that. So for every day early that you turn in your homework, you get 2 points. So homework's due on Friday, and if you turn it on Monday, I think you get like 8 points of extra credit, which is a lot. I'm giving out a lot of points. I don't know if I should have done this, but If you turn it on Tuesday, you get 6 extra credit. Wednesday, 4. And if you give it on Thursday, it's 2 extra credit points. Same with your discussion posts. If you start that early, I'll give you extra credit. And then running out of time, so I'm not going to totally go through this. I will expect you, this is part of your homework now, is to go over the online etiquette. It's common sense. Just don't call each other jerks. Don't use bad words. If yeah, if you guys have to ask me if it's a bad word, don't say it. Um, if you don't want to, if you wouldn't say it in front of your grandparents, that's what a bad word is. Let's keep it at that. And then don't use like shortened words. A lot of times when you're texting, like for instance, people do PLZ for please. Don't do that. Type out please. Just be as academic as you can, basically. So I want you to go through these online etiquette terms and then kind of go through the rest of this syllabus by yourself. Just read it, kind of skim through it. If I was you in a college class, I never really read it word for word like I'm reading a book. I kind of just skim it and get the main points. But you do need to know that this is like the constitution of the class, basically. Um, all right, and so I did in that email I sent you that included this syllabus and the PowerPoint. I also sent you the homework, I believe, and the quiz. So there was another Word document, labeled discussion. Well, it's called Disc One, HW1 for Discussion One, Homework One. Forgot to change that. So what it says is it gives you your discussion prompt, which is due on Thursday, like we just went over, and your homework, which is due on what day? Anyone remember? Friday. Awesome. And so your discussion prompt is this question: what is the importance of having strong foundational skills in math when entering the college setting? So basically, why is it important to have good math skills when you're getting into college? And then I discuss my directions. So please create an email and send it to your classmates as well as your instructor, which is me. So you send it to everyone, CC if you need to, but so Donna, what you're gonna do is you'll put Eli and then Mariana and me. You'll send it to all of us. Okay, so what I'll do right after this class is I'll send everyone's email. So we can do it that way. It may change next week because we're going to start this online service called Moodle, I think. So it'll be more organized and it'll be actually like what we call D2L, which is stands for Desire to Learn, which is the online platform that your classes are held for online classes. Um, so I'll send you those emails. What you're going to do is you're going to send an email to everyone with, sorry, lost my train of thought. So you're going to send an email to everyone with your answer to that question, which should be about a paragraph. And once you get someone else's email, so Eli, say you just received Donna's response, you're going to read her response and then you're going to respond to that. And so you'll say something along the lines of, I like what you said because it reminds me of this, or I don't agree with you because of this, but then keep in mind the online etiquette. If you do, like, it's totally okay to disagree with each other. That's what a lot of colleges are for. We have debates, we talk about things, but you have to be okay with it. You can't say, no, Eli, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, you don't want to say things like that. You want to say, I don't really see it that way because, and then give your side of the story. So you want to use your online etiquette and you want to, so like I said, Eli, if you just received Donna's response, then you're going to reply to everyone so that you're going to reply to everyone that's on that text thread. And then you'll give your statement. So you'll say, like, I like what you said, Donna, because it reminds me of the early days of America or whatever. We're not in history, but you get the point. So for this week, it's about the foundational skills. Do you guys have any questions on that discussion post? Okay. So yeah, you just kind of make up your own answer. And okay, I'm just going to say this to you guys. Um, I don't know if I should say it this way, but in college, a lot of your assignments and discussion posts and things are going to require you to BS things, to kind of just make up something. And yeah, exactly. And so that's where I do really well too, is you'll make something fit, you'll make your answer fit. And so a lot of times people overthink, like, oh, I don't know what to write. Write whatever the first thing to come to your head is. These discussion posts, there's really no right or wrong answer. I just want to see what you guys think. Everyone's going to have a different answer and they're going to have a different way of thinking. And that's what is really cool. So that's the discussion post. Go ahead and text me and email me if you guys have any questions on that. If you forget anything or if you want to make sure you are doing it right, I'm here for you. And then for your homework this week is going to be probably your easiest homework. Um, what you're going to do is you're going to go onto your class, or not your class, but so like Eli, you're planning on going to Pima, right? And then Donna, where were you planning on going? Okay, cool. That's what I thought. So you're going to go onto those websites for each of those community colleges, and you're going to try to navigate and try to find the program that you're interested in. And I want you to see if you can find what the highest level of math that's required for that program is. And so that's all I want you to find is I want you to find what the highest level is. And then I also want you to tell me how you found it. So tell me, like, I went on the website, I went to the degree page for so and so, and it was listed there. So it's really not too hard, but it may require some navigating or looking around to find it. So again, we have our discussion post due on Thursday. We have, oh, for your syllabus, I don't know if I told you guys this, but if you can, just send me an email saying I've read the syllabus. That's all you got to say. I read the syllabus. And that'll let me know that you finished reading it. And then, uh, so discussions due on Thursday after that. And then your homework and quiz are due on Friday. And then I believe I sent you your quiz as well. That's your last document. So I sent you 4 different documents. That's where Moodle's going to come in handy. If we can get that running, then all of your documents are going to be on a website instead of an email, and you got to go look for them. So yeah, your quiz is labeled. What did I label it? Quiz 1. Yeah, and so what we're going to do is I think we have a meeting at 3, and we're going to discuss how the platform works because none of us really know how it works. So we're going to see if it's worth it, and if it is worth it, then we'll try it out. If not, then I'll kind of probably run things like I did. But so again, if you guys have any questions or if something just doesn't seem right to you, something's not accessible, send me an email as soon as you can, and we'll get working on it. Do you guys have any questions over anything that we went over today? All right. Yeah, so send me an email that you read the syllabus, and then that's part of your homework. So just send me that by Friday. And then, yeah, that other part of your homework is to try to look up the highest level of math that's required for your certain program. And so it's different for every program. And then also tell me how you found it. You don't have to be too descriptive, but just let me know the process. You're welcome. Thank you guys. You guys have a good rest of your day.